It started with a simple notification, one that most of us would shrug off without a second thought. A soft chime rang from Alex's phone at 2:13 a.m., pulling him out of a half-dream. "Motion detected at your front door," the message read. He almost ignored it. After all, it could have been a stray cat or a passing car. But something inside him whispered otherwise. Against his better judgment, he tapped open the live feed from his security camera. What he saw froze him. There, standing just a few feet from his front door, was a man. Not just any man, himself. Same height, same messy hair, same tired eyes staring directly into the lens, as if he knew Alex was watching. The figure didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't even blink. It was as though the camera wasn't capturing an intruder, but a perfect reflection. Only this one was standing outside in the cold. Alex's heart pounded in his chest, his breath quickening. He replayed the clip, thinking it had to be a glitch, a corrupted feed, maybe even a prank. But the footage was real. The man outside tilted his head slowly, mimicking Alex's exact expression of shock. And then, as if to drive the nightmare deeper, the intruder smiled. A smile that didn't belong to Alex, yet carried his face. Was it a twin he never knew about? A distorted echo of himself? Or something far stranger, something his mind couldn't explain? Every possibility raced through his thoughts, but none of them felt right. Fear prickled at his skin as he realized the figure hadn't left. It was still there, waiting. Alex leaned closer to his phone, hands trembling, as the intruder finally raised a hand. He lifted it slowly, deliberately, until his palm pressed flat against the door's surface, right over the spot where Alex stood on the other side. For one terrifying second, it felt like the thin barrier between them wasn't enough, that at any moment, the stranger wearing his face could step through. And then, the feed glitched. The screen went black. Alex sat frozen in the glow of his phone, his own face staring back at him from the screen, even though he hadn't moved an inch. The black screen lingered, as though the camera itself had shut its eyes to something it wasn't supposed to see. His pulse thudded in his ears, and for a long moment he couldn't breathe. Then, with shaky fingers, he refreshed the feed. Nothing, just darkness. But Alex knew what he had seen. It wasn't some trick of the light. It wasn't a stranger in a mask. That was him. For most of his 34 years, Alex had lived an ordinary life. He worked as a freelance web developer, kept to himself, and rarely caused waves in his quiet suburban neighborhood. He had no enemies, no wild secrets. But there were pieces of his past that gnawed at him, moments he had never spoken about. The late-night calls with no one on the other end. The sense of being watched when walking home from the train. And, most unsettling, the times when he caught his reflection in a window or mirror, and for the briefest heartbeat, it didn't feel like it was really his. Back then, he brushed it off as exhaustion, paranoia, maybe even stress. But tonight, seeing his own face standing outside his home, those fragments of memory felt sharper, like clues he had ignored. He set the phone down on the coffee table, his hands trembling. The silence in the house pressed in around him. It was too quiet. Normally, the hum of the refrigerator or the distant rumble of a passing car kept him grounded. But tonight, every sound had been swallowed up, leaving him alone with the echo of his racing thoughts. Alex pulled the curtains shut, but the image of the figure at the door burned in his mind. Why was it there? What did it want? And why did it smile as if it already knew the answers? For years, Alex's late father had warned him about the double. As a child, Alex remembered overhearing hushed conversations, talk of strange family stories, doppelgangers that haunted certain bloodlines. He'd laughed it off as folklore, the kind of ghost tale parents told to keep kids entertained. Now, that memory crawled back with a weight he couldn't ignore. He reached for his phone again, scrolling back through saved footage. Hours of mundane clips, deliveries, neighbors passing by, the mailman. But just as his finger hovered over the latest recording, the screen flickered to life on its own. The security app opened, unprompted, and the feed blinked back on. There he was, still standing at the door, still smiling. Only this time, the man outside raised a finger slowly and pressed it against his lips in a silent gesture. Don't speak. Alex's breath caught in his throat. his own eyes staring back, telling him to keep quiet. And that's when the knocking started. The knocking came slow at first. 3 sharp raps that seemed to vibrate through the walls of Alex's house. He held his breath, frozen in the silence that followed. Another knock, louder this time, deliberate. The sound wasn't just at the door, it was inside his head, rattling against his skull like a warning drumbeat. Alex backed away from the living room, his phone still clutched in his hand. The feed showed his double, standing motionless against the wood. But the sound, the knocking, kept coming. Was it the door? Or was it something else altogether? His rational mind fought to explain it. Maybe the camera was hacked. Maybe someone was impersonating him. Yet, deep down, Alex knew this wasn't something technology could explain. The reflection in that camera wasn't a stranger. It was him. The more he thought, the more his father's strange warnings resurfaced. The double always comes when something's about to change, he had once muttered after too many drinks. Alex had brushed it off as drunken rambling, but tonight it rang like a prophecy. He pressed the phone to his chest and thought of the one person who might understand, his younger sister, Claire. She was the only one who ever believed his uneasy stories about reflections and the strange feelings he couldn't explain. But they hadn't spoken in months, not since their last argument about their father's will. Reaching out to her now would mean admitting he needed her, and admitting he was scared. Another complication gnawed at him. The freelance project on his laptop, his biggest client yet, was due in the morning. For weeks, Alex had been pouring himself into it, telling himself it was a shot at finally stabilizing his life. But if what was outside was real, deadlines meant nothing. Still, part of him clung to the illusion of normalcy. Maybe if I ignore this, it will go away. That thought alone was a moral tug-of-war. Was his fear a distraction, or was ignoring it putting him in danger? The knocking stopped. Silence again. Alex dared to glance at his phone. The figure was gone. The empty front step looked almost ordinary, but dread sank in deeper. Absence was worse than presence. He crept to the window and peeked through the blinds. Nothing. Only the quiet street, lit by the dim glow of a street lamp. His chest loosened for a second, until his phone buzzed. A new notification. Motion detected. Backdoor. He fumbled to open the feed, his throat tightening. The camera flickered on, and there it was. His double again. Only closer now, framed by the back door's glass panel. Its smile was wider, stretched unnaturally, and its hand rested against the glass as if testing the barrier. Alex staggered backward, nearly dropping his phone. His thoughts spiraled. Was the double trying to replace him? Was it hunting him? Or worse, was it something he himself had brought into existence? He remembered those nights of exhaustion, the times he swore he'd seen himself standing where he shouldn't be. Maybe it wasn't a glitch in reality at all. Maybe it was his fault. The glass rattled once. Then again, a hairline crack began to form across the pane. And in that trembling reflection of fractured glass, Alex thought he saw not one, but 2 doubles staring back. The crack in the glass spread with a sickening sound. A sharp spiderweb pattern bloomed outward, trembling as though the entire door might shatter with the next breath. Alex stumbled backward, his hand pressed to his chest as if he could hold his pounding heart still. His phone screen flickered, showing the feed from both cameras now, the front and the back. And that's when his stomach dropped. There were 2 of them. One stood at the back door, grinning against the fractured glass. The other lingered at the front, head cocked at the same angle, eyes burning with the same unnatural intensity. Both figures, both versions of him, watching, waiting. Alex's breath came shallow, almost choking him. He wanted to scream, but the silence pressed against his throat. His father's words replayed in his head like a curse. The double always comes when something's about to change. But what change? He fumbled for his sister's number. Claire's contact glowed on the screen. His thumb hovered over the call button. She'd think he was insane. After their last fight, she probably wouldn't even answer. Yet a part of him, small but desperate, knew she was his only lifeline. Before he could press it, the phone buzzed violently in his hand. An incoming call. His heart skipped. The name flashing on the screen made his blood run cold. Alex. It was his own name. His own number. His own phone. The call kept buzzing, the ringtone echoing unnaturally loud in the quiet house. He couldn't bring himself to answer. His fingers shook as he let it ring out. When it finally stopped, a voicemail notification popped up. He didn't want to listen, but his thumb betrayed him, pressing play. Static hissed through the speaker. Then a voice, his voice. Calm, cold, whispering, "Don't run. We're already inside." Alex dropped the phone. It clattered against the hardwood floor, screen flashing once before going dark. He spun, eyes darting to every shadow in the room. Were they in already? Was he too late? The refrigerator hummed back to life suddenly, making him jump. His nerves frayed to threads. He tried to convince himself he was imagining it. But then, from the hallway, came the unmistakable sound of footsteps. Slow, heavy. Alex reached for the nearest object, a lamp from the side table, and gripped it like a weapon. His palms were slick with sweat. The footsteps stopped, leaving only silence. Then came the whisper, from the hallway, from his own mouth. "Alex." He froze, the lamp trembling in his grip. His own voice, calling his own name. The hallway stretched before him, dark and endless. The air felt heavier, as though the house itself was suffocating him. He knew he should run, bolt out the door, call for help, something. But another part of him, a strange pull deep in his chest, wanted to see, to face it, to understand. The crack in the glass behind him groaned louder. A fissure widened. At any second, the barrier would give way. And Alex, standing there in his own home, realized he was trapped between two versions of himself. One outside, one inside. The hallway seemed to stretch endlessly, each shadow crawling closer to him. Alex gripped the lamp tighter, his knuckles white. His breath came in short, shallow bursts. The silhouette at the far end shifted, its movements eerily familiar, deliberate. And then, from behind him, the glass finally gave way. A sharp crack split the air as the back door shattered inward. The sound of splintering glass echoed through the house. Alex spun, heart pounding. Two doubles, one emerging from the hallway, one stepping through the shattered back door, both smiling, both him. Alex raised the lamp high, ready to strike, when suddenly, his phone lit up again on the floor. The screen flickered violently before a video began to play automatically. He didn't touch it. He didn't need to. The video was already running. It was footage from his security camera. Except this time, the timestamp read tomorrow. He stared in disbelief as the video showed himself. Alex, sitting calmly at the kitchen table, drinking coffee, flipping through a newspaper as though nothing had happened. But there was something wrong. His reflection in the window behind him wasn't matching his movements. The reflection was smiling while the real him stayed stone-faced. A shiver tore down his spine. This wasn't about intrusion anymore. This was about replacement. Before he could process it, the figure in the hallway spoke. His own voice, but steadier, colder. "Alex, you've wasted your life. Hiding, running from yourself. It's time you let us live it better." Alex's throat tightened. Was this betrayal from within? A part of him he'd buried, now clawing its way free? His fear turned to rage. "You're not me," he whispered. The double tilted its head, eyes gleaming. "No, we're the version you were too afraid to be." The words sliced through him. Memories flooded back. Jobs he'd turned down, relationships he'd let slip, opportunities drowned in hesitation. Was this what they were? His failures, given form? Or worse, the selves he could have been, demanding their chance? The second double, the one at the shattered door, stepped forward. "We don't need to kill you, Alex. We just need you to agree." The room spun. His mind raced between terror and temptation. A dark possibility settled in. If they weren't here to kill him, but to take over, what if that meant he could finally disappear? No more deadlines. No more loneliness. No more fear. But then he thought of Claire, of the one person who had ever believed in him, even when he pushed her away. If he gave in, if he let these things take his place, what would they do to her? The hallway double stretched out a hand, smiling that impossible smile. "Join us, Alex, or be erased." And at that moment, the lights in the house went out. Darkness swallowed the house. Alex's chest heaved in the suffocating silence, his fingers still wrapped around the lamp as if it could save him. The only light came from the broken phone on the floor, its glow illuminating the shards of glass and his trembling reflection. "Alex," the voice came from the hallway. His own voice. Calm, patient. "Choose. Join us or vanish." The other double-stepped closer through the shattered back door, feet crunching over broken glass. Both of them now stood inside. Both faces, his face staring at him with cold certainty. Alex backed into the corner of the living room, caught between them. His mind screamed to run, but the house had become a trap. The doors were broken, the power gone. There was no escape. He thought of Claire, the only thread tying him to something real. The one who would come looking if he disappeared. If he gave in, she'd never know the truth. She'd just see him, or what looked like him, walking around, living a life that wasn't his. Alex's grip on the lamp tightened. His breath came short. Then something inside him shifted. He was done running, done hiding. If these things were reflections of him, failures, regrets, pieces of himself he never lived, then maybe the only way to fight them was to accept them. He lowered the lamp slowly. The doubles froze, exchanging a glance, their smiles flickering for the first time. Alex swallowed hard. "You're right," he said. "I've wasted my life. I've been afraid, but I won't let you take it from me, because it's still mine." The hallway double hissed, stepping forward. The other lunged from the glass. Alex swung the lamp, smashing it into the nearest figure. Sparks burst, filling the room with sudden light. The doubles shrieked, not in pain, but like static cutting through a speaker. Their forms flickered, glitching, as though the light itself exposed them for what they truly were. Alex staggered forward, screaming, swinging again and again. The doubles' faces warped, melting into broken fragments of his own reflection. Their voices overlapped in static whispers. We are you, until the words dissolved into silence. And then, darkness. When Alex opened his eyes, he was lying on the floor. The phone buzzed beside him, screen cracked but glowing faintly. He picked it up with trembling hands. The feed flickered back to life. The cameras showed the front step, the back door, empty. He exhaled in relief, chest collapsing. They were gone, maybe for good. But then the screen glitched once more. The feed jumped forward, time-stamped next week. It showed Alex sitting at the kitchen table, Claire across from him, laughing softly. For a moment, he felt hope stir, until he noticed it. In the window behind them, Alex's reflection didn't laugh. It only stared, and then, slowly it smiled. Alex sat on the kitchen floor, the fractured phone screen warming his palms. Outside, the street was quiet again, the night reclaiming its usual stillness. Claire sat beside him, her hand brushing his shoulder gently, offering comfort without words. He realized how much he had taken life for granted, how many moments he'd ignored in fear of failure or hesitation. The doubles were gone for now. Whether they had been manifestations of his fears, unfulfilled choices, or something far stranger, Alex didn't know. What he did know was that tonight had changed him. The terror, the confusion, and the strange confrontation had forced him to face a truth he had long avoided. He couldn't outrun himself. His regrets, his missed chances, and his fears weren't external. They lived within him. Looking at Claire, he remembered why he had pushed her away. Pride, fear, the illusion that he could handle everything alone. Now, the simple presence of someone who truly believed in him felt like a lifeline. For the first time in years, Alex felt grounded. He glanced at the window where the reflection had once smiled independently. The image was gone now, replaced by his own normal reflection, quiet and still. It was a reminder. He could never erase the past, but he could decide how to move forward. He could choose to live fully, to embrace his fears, and to repair the relationships he had neglected. The night had been a mirror, showing him not just what he was, but what he could become. And in that mirror, he saw hope. Sometimes, Alex whispered, the scariest things are just ourselves, asking us to wake up. Claire squeezed his hand, her eyes kind but knowing. Then don't let them win, she said softly. You've got one life. Live it. Alex sat on the kitchen floor, the fractured phone screen warming his palms. Outside, the street was quiet again, the night reclaiming its usual stillness. Claire sat beside him, her hand brushing his shoulder gently, offering comfort without words. He realized how much he had taken life for granted, how many moments he'd ignored in fear of failure or hesitation. The doubles were gone for now. Whether they had been manifestations of his fears, unfulfilled choices, or something far stranger, Alex didn't know. What he did know was that tonight had changed him. The terror, the confusion, and the strange confrontation had forced him to face a truth he had long avoided. He couldn't outrun himself. His regrets, his missed chances, and his fears weren't external. They lived within him. Looking at Claire, he remembered why he had pushed her away. Pride, fear, the illusion that he could handle everything alone. Now, the simple presence of someone who truly believed in him felt like a lifeline. For the first time in years, Alex felt grounded. He glanced at the window where the reflection had once smiled independently. The image was gone now, replaced by his own normal reflection, quiet and still. It was a reminder. He could never erase the past, but he could decide how to move forward. He could choose to live fully, to embrace his fears, and to repair the relationships he had neglected. The night had been a mirror, showing him not just what he was, but what he could become. And in that mirror, he saw hope. Sometimes, Alex whispered, the scariest things are just ourselves asking us to wake up. Claire squeezed his hand, her eyes kind but knowing.